All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to brainstorm some ideas for us to use on our smashing obstacles frame. So this is part of your frame. You may be doing this after you've done your portrait or before. This can go in between any of those projects. So you are working on the frame to go with your portrait. So your frame, because our faces are smashed, is going to be kind of the things we smash against, the obstacles or barriers we face. So the first question is, what are some obstacles or barriers that you have faced in the past? If you're having trouble coming up with these, you can always look on the board. So it could be time, like lack of time, peer pressure, family. What else have I faced? Or maybe like, for me, my eyesight is one of the obstacles that I've faced as an artist who wears glasses, whose eyesight is very poor. All right, so what are some obstacles or barriers you may face in your future? So these ones can be ones that you haven't faced, but you can kind of look at the board and see if there's any that you may face. Something like money is something that tends to be something that worries in the future. Maybe opportunities. Let's see, what else could I use? Let's go fear of change. And maybe even location. So now that I have these kinds of things in my mind, or things that have stopped me or might stop me, now I need to come up with some images. So these are big images, just like before, that they can symbolize obstacles in general or your obstacles specifically. So you could do something like, for my eyesight, I could do something like I could put in a pair of glasses. So for lack of time, I could do something like a clock. Or I could do something that represents obstacles in general, like maybe a stop sign. If you're having trouble coming up with ideas, you can always look at the examples that are on the board. You need to fill all of these. I'm not going to make you watch me fill all of these. Next step is, what are some patterns that could represent being stopped or breaking through? So you can take any of these upper images that you have and make them into a pattern. Like I could do a pattern of a bunch of stop signs kind of tied together and repeating. Remember that patterns repeat. So you want it to repeat and fill up the space. So I'm kind of making these stop signs tie into each other. And maybe I have them just kind of like make a honeycomb of stop signs. I could also do something like, if I think like brick walls would be something that would stop me. So I could make a pattern out of a brick wall, which is popular. So either way, you need to fill up that little box with a pattern. The last section is you start looking at these and start coming up with what's your color schemes. Now, for this part, you could choose marker or colored pencil. I have fancier ones that we're going to use for our frames, but most of the colors that exist in marker or colored pencil, I do have in the fancy markers or the fancy colored pencils. So you can go through and kind of pick a color scheme. So maybe since I'm using a lot of red, or I'm using these stop signs, I might choose red. Just kind of scribble through and figure out what colors you might want to use. So you need to finish this worksheet in order to get the next one.